Hello everybody and welcome to a Speed 5 review of La Résistance. So, I'm butchering the pronunciation. You'll live. This is the latest DLC and patch. I'm not going to distinguish between features of the two for Hearts of Iron 4. This adds the espionage system, which adds lots of cool mechanics, which we will dive into momentarily. It also adds the resistance and compliance mechanics, which are a very, very good change. I'm going to very briefly cover what the changes are and what I like about them, and then I'm going to end the video by rounding off a couple of areas that I think could do with some improvement. If you just want the positivity, you can cut at that point, so all good. So, the espionage system, it's very cool. You can upgrade different areas of your department. It takes 30 days to install an upgrade. To fully upgrade, it's going to cost you a lot of civilian factories over a lot of time. It's a significant industrial investment, no doubt about it. You can name your agency and give it an icon. I don't care about that kind of thing, but you might like it. You get a certain number of agents. The number of agents you get is 1 to begin with, then 1 more when you get 5 upgrades for your department, then 1 more per 2 members of your faction, if and only if you are the Spy Master. Spy Master is the largest industrial nation who claims the title, basically. What can you do with spies? Well, there are essentially these many basic things you can do with them. You can do counterintelligence, which you do in your own land to fight enemy spies. You build an intel network, and then you can use the intel network to do one of these things. You can quiet the intel network, which just maintains it, but you don't have a high chance of being captured, because your spies can be captured or killed. You can boost your ideology, as we're doing here, and you can do propaganda, as we're doing here. So boosting our ideology is meaning that they're getting more fascism each month, as you can see. Quite a lot more fascism. And because we're lowering their stability with our propaganda, they're also losing stability. All this is to lay the groundwork for a potential coup, which you can do when they're a major. You have to get them below 50% stability if they're at peace, or 35% if they're not at peace. If they're not a major, it's also 35% stability. You have to get them below. So it's a big ask. You can also do things like infiltrate the civilian administration. So let's just show you how that looks. So here, you pick 2 agents to get involved in this operation. What you do is you infiltrate, you apply your charms to a couple of people to gain information, and then you hike back across the border, and you get civilian infiltration. What is civilian infiltration? Well, it allows you to steal industrial blueprints. It also gives you some more intel. Now let's look at intel. This is the new way that you learn about your opponents. So you have the total civilian, army, navy, and air intel. When you have more intel, as you can see if you hover on these tooltips, you can pause if you want to read in detail what exactly you get. You get more and more information about precisely what the enemy is up to. This is extraordinarily useful and very cool. There's also charts. You can track like produced and lost convoys, damaged and total industry, produced and lost bombers. Like, it's a very cool system where you can look at a lot of data. You can see what these ships are. When you have enough naval data, you can see exactly what the stats of these ships are, and you can plan your own fleet accordingly. So let's launch a mission, just so you see how it goes. You pick 2 of your guys. You have an odds of being caught, 0 in this case. You have a duration. Sometimes you have a cost associated, but in this case there isn't that. You can automatically repeat tasks if you want to get tons and tons of civilian intel about them. And you hit prepare. And then once it's prepared, which it is, it then launches and it takes 90 days. That consumes those 2 agents for those 90 days. Here they are, getting involved. Agents can be killed, they can be captured. If they're captured, you can launch missions to rescue them. If they are captured for too long, then the enemy gets intel because they've essentially successfully managed to torture it out of your agent. Here is one thing you can do as well with the compliance and resistance system. You can use your agents to root out resistance, which is lowering how much resistance we're getting over here in the east. Let's take a look at the resistance and compliance system. Resistance and compliance are not opposites. You can build them both in unison, and in fact, in order to build compliance, what you essentially need to do is be gentle on the area. So in Carpathian Ruthenia, let's say we wanted to gain compliance at the highest rate, we'd have to use civilian oversight or no garrison, basically. But if we wanted brutal oppression to get the lowest amount of resistance, then we would lose compliance in the area. So you have to make a choice between the different ones. They will also make a difference on how many garrisons you need. Now let's take a look at garrisons. You select one of your templates to be used to garrison the areas. The garrisons do not have to be used in full units. As you can see, to garrison Southern Slovakia, we're using 0.08 of the MP Cav unit to garrison. There are essentially 2 options, well, 3. 1, you can be bad, and then there's 2 options, because you don't want option 1. Do you want to maximize your manpower and cost per suppression point, which it shows you here, or do you want to maximize your hardness? The hardness as a vision is good because your garrisons now get killed by the resistance. As you can see right here, there is a 4.5% chance of resistance activity and a 2% chance they penetrate the garrisons. That can hurt your garrisons. You can actually lose them. So if we go here and look at the garrison log, you can see we've lost 1,000 manpower in the last 2 months, and we've lost some equipment because you see the activities were stopped by the garrison, but you lost men. So they attempted to do something, and you managed to stop them. That means you didn't lose a factory, but you lose stuff, and you lose equipment. Now, if you have hardness, you lose a lot less stuff, because of course these are resistance fighters. They don't have the ability to pierce tanks. So there are essentially 2 options. This is the most efficient manpower and production per suppression division. You make it full, and you add in the military police. It gets even more efficient suppression per manpower as you add in greater and greater military police upgrades. So the military police support company is no longer strictly useless, which is nice. This, I think, I'm not sure about this one though, because I don't really care about this angle, is how you get the most hardness in your military police. Obviously, if you had all medium tanks, that would work too. This also has the advantage of being slightly more efficient manpower-wise, but it's cripplingly expensive in terms of production costs. If we look here, the production costs of using the tank variant are, yeah, what is that? Something on the order of 7 or 8, maybe 8 and a bit times more expensive on production. So significant, but you lose a lot less manpower. Speaking of using manpower, when you have allies, you can request garrison support, and then the AI, if I actually turned on the AI, because I've been cheating to set this up, they give us 0 manpower. Wow, how generous. No, they didn't. They gave us 200,000 manpower. So you remember I told you that you lose some men in garrisons. The AI seems willing to give you just a hilarious number of men. So right now we have 230 odd thousand manpower from Italy. That's kind of absurd. When I was playing as the Soviet Union, I conquered the Netherlands and then requested it from the Dutch East Indies. They gave me 800,000 manpower. I think they might just give you like their available manpower. Well, they didn't quite, but I mean, yeah, I'm not sure how that's calculated. It's probably bugged because I don't think you're supposed to be able to get 900,000 manpower just because you have the Dutch East Indies on your side. Other things you can do with agents, let's just a bit more on resistance. So higher resistance, they break stuff and you get less stuff. Pretty simple. Compliance, the higher that is, the more like a core province it is. Once it's at 100%, it's essentially 50% of a normal core province, which is pretty nice. When you have high resistance, you can get a rebellion, which gives a literal rebellion. They rise up and fight against you. Compliance at various points will give you various bonuses. You get informants, so easier to find foreign agents. You get local police force, less required garrisons. You can recruit more of them, more factories, more recruitable population. A new regime. You can set up essentially a puppet government, which is called a collaboration government in the province when you have high enough compliance. You can also use agents to prepare the way for collaboration governments, which gives you 20% collaboration in the province once you've done it. You can set this to repeat and start with really high compliance in an area and immediately set up a compliant government, which basically means you just gained an ally. You gain spies based on the number of people in your faction. I've mentioned it does not count puppets, and I believe it does not count compliant governments. So it's quite difficult to get more spies if you're playing as Germany. If you play as England and you do decolonization, you get a Christ ton of spies. Anything else? Yes, so this spy is doing what's called diplomatic pressure, which means they basically have 20 reasons to accept joining our faction. That's essentially it. It's pretty good in certain situations, but not in many. When you just have a spy network in an area, so let's say we sent this guy to build an intel network, they arrive immediately. You get a bonus to planning, speed, and invasion defense. I don't know what invasion defense is. Planning speed is self-explanatory. It only applies in the region which they are active. Max planning for the enemy simply doesn't work. I've tested it. It's broken. Max entrenchment does work, and it only works in the region in which the spy is active, and it only works for the nation, not for them and their allies within that region. I told you it would be speed 5. So that is basically the features of La Résistance. I'm probably missing a few. There's scout planes, for example, where you can deploy planes, not in demilitarized zones, of course. You can deploy these special scout planes and then send them over an area to do air recon. And then you can get much better intelligence about where enemy stuff is. And it probably gives you better intel here, maybe? Yeah, there we go. So you get air recon on all of these different things as well. Okay, not on naval, it looks like, which makes no sense. Naval air recon is very important. Maybe that's just because they don't have any naval there, or because you're not placed over a sea zone. Yes, you can also get intel on your enemy that way. The higher level intels are extremely useful. Higher levels of intel are extremely useful, pardon me. Is there anything else that I need to touch on? I'm not convinced that there is. Yes, you have to sometimes give stuff to your operations, and of course garrisons are now something you have to put priority on now. The research for decryption and encryption have gone, because that is now a function of your cryptology department. If you build the cryptology department, and you can then upgrade it, you can decrypt places. So let's decrypt France. It's going to take us 400 days because we haven't got a very upgraded cryptology department. Once it's fully upgraded, we will get a passive bonus that's shown here. You get increased air detection, you get a deception mission efficiency against them, and you get 10% bonus in each of the intel regions. Once it's fully decrypted, you can activate it to get a 30-day bonus, which gives you a lower invasion penalty, meaning you can naval invade them easier. You get a higher planning speed against them, you get a defense bonus against the country, you get an invasion preparation speed against the country. Quite a few good things in here. And you get an incredible amount of army and navy and air force stuff against them. You can, once you've got it fully upgraded, you can decrypt in roughly 180 days, but they can also upgrade their encryption, which makes it harder and harder to decrypt. A few problems. There's no way to get to this screen using shortcut keys that I can see. You have to hit Q and then hit here to go here, which is just a silly oversight. I hope they add that in. Other problems, like I said, I want to know what invasion defense means. Maybe it means like when someone naval invades an area, but that wouldn't make any sense because you can't build intel networks in areas that you own. So like, why would you want to have invasion defense in someone else's territory? Other new things, of course, that I should briefly touch on. There is a freaking massive focus tree for the French, and you can zoom in and out on focus trees now, so you can adore how huge it is. The zoom in and out functionality is not very good. They don't scale the text properly, so you can't read it. Once you scroll out too much, it becomes very pixelated. There's a new big focus tree for Spain, and Spain-Spanish Civil War has been overhauled. It lasts longer and it's more interesting. And Portugal has a focus tree as well. Not a completely vast one, but a pretty darn good one. It's kind of deceptively large because you can only do, you know, one section of this bit over here. It's good replayability though. So that's nice. Anything else? You can recruit foreign agents, so we can recruit a French agent. And then the next time we recruit someone, we'll be able to get a French person. Agents of a certain nationality can infiltrate that nationality better. Agents have skill levels between 1 and 2, which is dumb. Why isn't it 1 to 10? Give me more gradation and I can tell more stuff. It's fun. They also can earn traits by doing different things. When they're a linguist, they can work better in other nations and things like that. That's pretty much the DLC and the patch. So far, I've really, really, really enjoyed it. The spies didn't grab me in my first half hour, but now they really have. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it quite a lot. It's going well. I think there's very good potential for this. You can't really do a whole campaign just doing kind of espionage stuff, but you're not meant to, right? It's another strategic layer. And for that, it works well. Should you buy it? It's £16. So if you ever go out for dinner and you think, and this is definitely worth at least half as much as that. Yes, you should buy it, in short. It's cheap. It costs much less than money that you waste money on in other areas of your life, so buy this instead. If you're flat broke, maybe don't buy it, obviously. But other than that, thank you for listening. This has been Count Christo's Speed 5 Tutorials. The other thing I want to complain about is you can't select what these are, which is ridiculous. Like, I saw this and I was so excited because I thought you could, like, pick how you carry out an operation, but oh well. So that is basically La Résistance. You should go and buy it. There'll be a link in the description, which will be a sponsored link, full disclosure. If you want to buy it there, I'll get some amount of money. I don't remember what, to be honest. You get a key that you can use on the Steam Workshop. Or you can just buy it straight on the Steam Workshop, or you can just buy it on the Paradox store. Either way, I recommend you get it. It's pretty good fun. I'm going to be doing lots of campaigns in the DLC, and they're all going to go up on YouTube, so I hope you look forward to those. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.